What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. It's Wednesday night, and on Wednesday nights, we typically like to go live. So, as a typical live stream, we will answer any questions that you guys have, Ravens related or other. Kind of the topic that I put out there was Ravens coaching options if they were to move on from John Harbaugh. But we can talk about absolutely anything. So if you're coming to this after the live stream's already been done and you're expecting a, however long this goes, discussion about coaching options, that's probably not going to happen. We're probably going to be jumping around. But if you are watching in post or something like that, comment down below if you have any questions. We can make separate videos and things like that on it more specifically. But how's everybody doing? Welcome into the live show at, typical 8 p.m. and things like that. But Joshua, we recently watched AFC North opponents play in their playoff games. The Cincinnati Bengals getting their victory over the Raiders, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers getting demoralized by the Kansas City Chiefs. What were your thoughts on the AFC North and how they performed?
Honestly, Cincinnati Bengals, I put it to you like this. No, I don't like the Cincinnati Bengals, but at the end of the day, you got to give that organization respect. Just for the simple fact that they have been on that slow rebuild period, and they got their pieces, they working, they coming together, and Joey B and Jamar Chase is the hottest duo right now. I mean, when Jamar Chase is on fire, When Joey B connecting with his guys, he's connecting. So, I mean, they're going to ride that wave all the way. They play the Bengals play Kansas City, or
Bengals are taking on the Tennessee Titans with a return Derrick Henry.
That's going to be a good one. I'm not going to say who's going to take that one. I'm just going to be only thing I can do is watch it. Now, when Pittsburgh still played the Chiefs, Ben Roethlisberger in the interview, he already said, "Hey, man, we're already kind of lose." So, he knew what he was going to do. He's going to try to come out there and play his best, try to pull out a fourth quarter comeback. But Kansas City knew when to turn it on. They was like, oh yeah, they think they can get a touchdown on us. They think they can move the ball on us. They think they can get a stop on us. Okay, let's show you what we can do. And that's what Kansas City did. And they put on the onslaught, like you said, demoralized them. And they put their foot on the gas and then get up and then take their foot off the gas. So I mean, it's good to see AFC North teams outside of the Ravens making it to the playoffs and win some games, lose some games. I'm definitely happy that the Steelers lost versus the Bengals. I mean, you literally had to put the Bengals against a better team outside of the Las Vegas Raiders in order for them to lose. But they went against the Raiders. The Raiders were lucky to get into the playoffs. I know some people that may watch the show that are Raiders fans may say otherwise, and may even talk about us not making it to the playoffs. But hey, y'all been going through it just like us, so I get it.
Yeah. And quickly, let's talk about some of these names here. Jonathan Washington brings up Eric Bieniemy as his top pick to replace John Harbaugh. And you talked about that Steelers game. The Chiefs knew when to turn it on, and they knew how to get creative in the red zone. And they were able to put points on the board in the red zone and use those players. I do like Eric Bieniemy. He's not my number one choice if the Ravens were to go in a different option. Brian Flores, defensive coordinator right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, sorry, not Brian. Sorry, I was mixing up Todd Bowles and Brian Flores. Brian Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins. Wow, I cannot speak right now. And he got fired because he did not want Tua Tagovailoa as his quarterback. And he and the general manager were having disagreements about that, but felt like he actually did a pretty good job in Miami. Kellen Moore, I love Kellen Moore. I feel like Kellen Moore is somebody who would take a lot of risks, and I want a lot of risks to be taken with this Ravens team. Brian Dabble, He could be nice. Byron Leftwich and Doug Peterson, also guys that are all right options. But for me, I really like Todd Bowles, Kellen Moore, and then I like Brian Flores. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. Joshua, is there a guy that you really like to be that number one option? Or
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd be calling Bobby Petrino. But hey, that's just me. I'm all about connections and relationships. I done seen it, in the high school level. Sometimes you even see it in the college level. Heck, excuse me, you see it with Lincoln Riley right now. Lincoln Riley is literally left OU, USC. It's gone to USC, right? You done had players that's already established at USC leave, and guys at OU leave and go to USC. So when you got that relationship established, why not try to take it to the next level? Why not keep on trying to ride that wave? So I mean, I'm always say Bobby Petrino, but I definitely like the I like the Kellen Moore, I like the Brian Flores, and I like Eric Bieniemy. I mean, we keep on talking about Eric Bieniemy. This for a long time. I don't think Eric Bieniemy is going to leave Andy Reid's side for whatever reason. I mean, I feel like he's done more than enough to be a head coach. Honestly, yeah, I definitely agree with that, Andrew. Flores and Bieniemy are definitely top guys. Not only are they players coaches, but also they do the X's and O's, and that's something we've really been talking about. It's a difference from motivating your guys, rallying your guys, want to go to battle, go to war, but also it also comes down when a coach take over the reins and say, hey man, look, we see XYZ going on, we gotta do A, B, and C so we can get points on the board so we can stop this team from moving the ball. And a lot of times you don't really see that. Yolanda. All I'm gonna say is this: we are now in. Are we past our week one for our off season? Nothing has happened.
Yeah,
nothing has happened. It's quiet in Orange Mills right now. Shout out to Engraven. I watched this video talking about how quiet the Ravens organization is right now. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's coming down the gate, but I think it's something that McConnell and I can agree with. Whatever happens, this offseason, it's going to be a true domino effect, and heads may be turned, and we might still be depressed. So just be on the lookout. If nothing happens, we're going to have to ride this wave, y'all. We're going to have to ride this wave.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Kimberly. These types of things, it means a lot to you guys. It means a lot to us that you guys like it. So, thank you guys for that. But going back to what Yolanda was asking, the Ravens love Harbaugh, and Harbaugh loves Greg Roman.
Yeah.
And that's a really unfortunate situation for this team because, I mean, it's just something that unfortunately is going to be something that lingers with him, right? Like I had to grow up watching Aaron Rodgers with Mike McCarthy, and we saw what Mike McCarthy did with the Dallas Cowboys, who I think a lot of people thought they looked decent, gets to the playoffs, and Mike McCarthy is not a good coach. And people have known this for years. The fact that he got a job with Dallas was very surprising to me. I did not think that he would ever be a head coach again in the NFL, and they gave it to him, and I was like, really? And I actually root for Dallas. I'm not a Dallas hater and things like that, but I was just like, you should not hire this man. And that man, Aaron Rodgers, won a Super Bowl in spite of him. It's going to be very difficult for Lamar Jackson to win a Super Bowl in spite of Greg Roman and John Harbaugh. It's just, we need, Andrew, this is 100% right. I really don't want to see the same results. But until changes are made, it is what we will get, and it sucks. Same results. Ravens get to the playoffs. Ravens system doesn't work anymore. Ravens fall apart. Ravens lose.
And that's the bad thing about everything that's going on right now is between the injured players, guys going on COVID. That's what they're going to try to chunk this season up to. They're not going to really address the real issues in regards to schematics, players' personnel, you know, making proper in-game adjustments, stuff like that. So they're gonna be like, I promise you, in that end of the year presser, it's gonna be, well, we get all our guys back, we get healthy, we come back strong, Greg Roman and Wink Martindale, John Harbaugh, we trust our coaches, they're gonna do what's best. And you know what? It's like this organization's almost in a deja vu is type of world right now. It's like, when is Eric DeCosta going to wake up and smell the coffee? It's like, when is Lamar Jackson going to say, you know what, yo, I'm kind of not liking your coaching here, man. Y'all want me to stay here in Baltimore, something got to go. Like, I know everybody say, well, he's the good guy. He don't want to be the devil's advocate or the antagonist. You're not an antagonist when you care about your career and your future with the organization. I don't see it being an antagonist. You're being protagonistic in my opinion, because at the end of the day, you care about your longevity in the NFL, you care about your career here at the Baltimore Ravens, and you want to actually start stamping on what you said when you got drafted here to Baltimore and winning some Super Bowls. We want you to win Super Bowls. But I feel like he has to take that I feel like he almost had to take that Aaron Rodgers approach, where he's going to say, you know what, yo, I'm not going to take too much more of this. Hey, let's get on the field. We're going to do this. I'm not listening to this headset no more. Come on, y'all. Let's work out. Hollywood, get open. Rashad, I got you. JK, Gus, be ready. It's about that time, in my opinion, where you take over the reins. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something that we've seen not just out of Aaron Rodgers, we see it out of all the great quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. All the great quarterbacks in the history of football, not even just quarterbacks, all the great athletes, all the ones that win the championships, that do all those things. Yeah, they listen to their coaches. Yeah, they get mentored and things like that. But when they feel like they should do something else, they override what the coach says, right? Sometimes, there were a lot of times, where Phil Jackson drew up a play and Michael Jordan was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to pass the ball here. But then there were times where Michael Jordan said, give me the ball and get out the way. Yep. Right? Aaron Rodgers hears, oh, you got to run the ball here on 3rd and 3. And he goes, no, give me the ball and I'm going to make that play. We see Big Ben. Big Ben, no longer the quarterback that he once was. I think everybody will recognize that. However, even late in his career, last year, this year, I think he was injured 2 years ago. So 3 years ago, Big Ben, his arm was not the same as it once was. And the offense a lot of times would get really stagnant and they would struggle and they wouldn't be able to run the ball. And then all of a sudden Big Ben would be like, nope, hurry up offense. And then we go no huddle for a full drive. And it seemed like almost every time they would score, because it just like, he just started taking over and he saw what he saw and he was able to make those quick adjustments and things like that. And I'm not saying Lamar Jackson needs to, be on the level of Aaron Rodgers to be able to do this. He just needs to be on a level with his coaching to be able to say, no. Let me go for a little bit, because we've seen the Ravens run the no huddle with Lamar. He's phenomenal in the no huddle. And if he's not going to make those, decisions, then it's going to hinder his growth in his career.
Definitely. Heck, we even saw Rashad Bateman on the sideline, the man for the ball. And he's a rookie. Ball is ball, man. At the end of the day, you got to feed your dogs. And if you're not feeding your dogs, it's time for you to go. It's time. Hell, look right now in my Lakers. Granted, they put together a wayward, pieced up team. But look who they're looking to fire in the midseason. Frank Vogel. They're not trying to trade none of the guys like Westbrook or THT. Hell, you're not even trying to trade LeBron. I mean, of course, that would be crazy if they tried to, but my thing is, when people want real results, people are willing to make change. I feel like you have to, Eric DaCosta has to say, you know what, all three y'all are in the hot seat. If things don't get together, I'm letting y'all go. Honestly, John Harbaugh expiration date has long passed here in Baltimore, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what happens when you let your rookie QB rock out and get you lead you to 6-1 and get you into the playoffs.
Yeah. And it wasn't something where as far as I know, in the Ravens war room, I believe it was an Ozzie Newsome where he said, no, we're going to make this change. I'm not saying John Harbaugh was opposed to the idea, but it wasn't like in the post-draft conferences, Harbaugh was coming out there and he was like, oh, we really wanted Lamar Jackson. Like, I just really wanted to work with this guy. That was never the idea that I got. It always seemed like it was Ozzie Newsome's gift was like, hey, when I'm gone, we're going to be doing something different. And I've brought you that final piece to where we can transition out. And that was, Ozzie's last thing. And it wasn't something where Harbaugh really wanted someone new. Harbaugh wanted to stick with this guy. He wanted Lamar Jackson, or not Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco. And, obviously Lamar Jackson probably shouldn't have started day one and things like that. But Harbaugh was playing his guy and he wanted his guy to play. So that's, I think, the same. I mean, he wanted him to play for 3-4 years. He kept going and it was like, Joe Flacco's not that good anymore. We need a new guy. And he just stuck with him. And it was the same thing over and over again. He's doing that with Greg Roman. He's doing the same thing with Greg Roman where it's like, yeah, he brought you that success, but he's doing the same thing. The defenses are stopping it, and it's not working anymore, and it's time to move on. And if you're not going to move on from him, the organization is going to move on from you.
Yep. I definitely agree. It's I'm trying to tell you. At the Super Bowl, I feel like everybody in Ravens Nation, Ravens flock, whether you just signed on to the Ravens bandwagon 2-3 years ago, or you've been rocking with them for the 26 years they've been in existence, I think everybody's going to be tuned into this year's end of the year pressure because almost everybody wants heads at this point. And if heads are not gone, I don't know how things are going to go. I don't know how things.
When was the last time the Ravens? Is this maybe the first time the Ravens fan group or fan base has all been opposed to something so strongly? I can't remember a time, and obviously I'm not old enough to remember every season the Ravens have been in existence. I'm not even 26, so I can't speak on that. But anybody in the chat, please let us know if there was. But in terms of the way the Ravens fan base it's always been pretty supporting of the organization. Now, sure, there's been times where we didn't love things, why did you draft Rashad Perriman? Those types of things where it's small, but
Right.
This is Ravens fans are angry with the organization and they're angry with the team. I've never seen them before. And maybe that's just because the Ravens organization has just been winning for so long. But even in what was it, 2015, the year Flacco got hurt, the Ravens ended up drafting Stanley the next year, maybe it was 2014. It wasn't oh no, this is horrible. It was our quarterback got hurt. No big deal. Joe Flacco will be back. We'll draft somebody. We get Stanley. And it was all right, yeah. We're chilling. We're not that angry. Ooh, Yolanda, I really like this. I think the Ravens fan base is so strong because we recognize the amazing talent we have that is not being utilized properly. I think that is a really, really good point because I mean, come on. When we were watching Joe Flacco and Kamar Aiken, I don't think Ravens fans were like, "Oh, we're winning the Super Bowl this year. This is the year." Like, I love Joe, but I was never thinking that.
Yeah, Kamar Aiken was serviceable. He was serviceable. I mean, when Kamar Aiken had some good games, he had some good games. I can't even be mad. Even Marlon Brown, that's another one.
Yeah, Marlon Brown, the 1-year wonder, the snow game assassin.
Yes,
I don't know what
sir.
to call him, but that's what I remember Marlon Brown from. He was a
Brian
monster
Pitter,
that
Ed
rookie
Dixon
year.
days.
Remember Kenneth Dixon? Kenneth Dixon, Buck Allen.
The first two one-punch duel. When Kenneth Dixon and Gus was in the backfield with Lamar, man.
Never forget the Justin Forsett Pro Bowl year.
Yeah. Alex Collins.
Seahawks legend now, but more Ravens legend. The Irish Janser. A lot of fun watching him. We support, but many of us are not fools. We know what we see. Flacco did nothing after getting his big payday. It took Lamar to actually give Ravens fans life, and I think that's very true. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I despised Lamar Jackson in college. I did, and I believe it's because I'm a salty Stanford fan because I really wanted. Maybe it was Christian McCaffrey that year. Maybe it was Bryce Love that year. I can't remember what year it was to win the Heisman, and I was like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson." I'm so annoyed at this guy. Stop talking about this guy. Talk about the Stanford players. He'll never work in the NFL. It's so frustrating. And then I'm going to be blatantly honest about that. However, we got to the draft process and I was thinking about the Baltimore Ravens. I was like, what can the Ravens do in their draft? And I was like, they got to move on at quarterback. Who can they get? And I was like, you know what? Let me watch some Lamar Jackson. And this is before the draft. And I was like, you know what? I actually really like Lamar Jackson. I kind of want the Ravens to draft him at, I believe they were drafting at 16 that year. They traded back to 18 and then 21 and then traded up. They got Hurst and they did a lot of moving in that. But I wanted Lamar Jackson to make that change. Like, I recognized that the Ravens needed to change. And it got me to the point where I was like, scouting a guy that I did not like at that point. Obviously, I love Lamar Jackson. I was so happy that we drafted him. I was working the night of that draft. I got off work 3 minutes before the 32nd pick in the draft. I'm in my car and I was like, just watching. I was like, I got to finish this first round. And I'm in the car and I see I'm watching it on my phone and I see Ravens trade up for the pick. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please. I wanted Lamar because we wanted a change and it worked out. The change worked out. The Ravens became contenders more than they were with Joe Flacco. Just because Flacco had brought success doesn't mean it's going to work. Same thing can be said about coaches. Harbaugh's not a bad coach. Just because we want Harbaugh gone doesn't mean we think he's bad, right? Just because I'm trying to think of a big trade. The Jacksonville Jaguars, just because I think they traded Ramsey to the Rams. I'm assuming they did. I think they did.
Yeah. That was the year. I think that was the year Jacksonville was really just letting everybody go at that point. Yeah.
Or maybe we could go Ravens example. The Jacksonville Jaguars trading away Calais Campbell. It's not because they thought Calais Campbell was bad. It was just because they said, hey, right now we're trying to kind of rebuild. We need something else that you're not giving. Move on. We're going to put you in a good situation. If Harbaugh gets fired, he's going to go to another team and he's probably going to have success. But if the Ravens want to have the most success possible, they need to find someone else. That's kind of how I think about it. Sorry for my really kind of overly long rant.
No, you're good.
Explanation, but
you're good. Pull up blank space comment. We got to address that real quick.
Which one? There's a million of them.
This one. So blank. We're going to nip this in the bud. 2012, Joe Flacco and John Harbaugh had one of the best defenses to ride into the Super Bowl. Joe Flacco had some great moments in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But if it wasn't for Ray Lewis retiring and that defense being as stout as it was, they would not have made it to the Super Bowl. So let's not say that John Harbaugh, and Flacco were responsible for that Super Bowl. I just had to clear that up.
Like it was a whole team sort of thing, right? Like it was still
Literally.
a run-based team. It was still behind Ray Rice's run game. I mean, people forget that's how the Ravens offense was. The Ravens have always been a run-first team. Now, later in Flacco's career, the Ravens were like, screw it. Let's just have Flacco unleash because it's not working handing the ball off anymore because the defense isn't as good as it used to be. And the receivers, they thought they were decent. They drafted Brashad Perriman. They had some guys they thought were going to be good. But the Ravens, they went away from it, and now we're back with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens are getting back to that smash mouth football, but they don't have a coach for smash mouth. They don't have a coach for that type of scheme, that type of suffocating defense. Wink Martindale's not a defense that's suffocating. They're a defense that's explosive, but in my opinion, I like a suffocating defense. I really liked what Dean Pease brought. I felt like Dean Pease maybe gets a little bit of flack in Baltimore, but I felt like that shouldn't have been because the defenses weren't terrible under Dean Pease by any means, but people were upset at the defense. They didn't get a lot of turnovers. He was not working with a great defensive roster. Like he was working with a young, maybe he had rookie Marlon Humphrey. He had like Jimmy Smith as his number one, Brandon Carr. Like the defense that he had is nowhere near the defense where it's like, oh, Wink Martindale comes in and they're like, oh yeah, so we just brought you Marcus Peters. You have Matthew Judon. You have, we brought you Yannick Ngakoue. You have Deshaun Elliott. Like you have all these guys. And I'm not trying to slander Wink a ton, but I'm like, Dean Pease was just like, oh yeah, we just stopped teams on third down. It was like we didn't get interceptions, but we just stopped them. And I really like that type of defense. Maybe you guys don't like. I know a lot of people don't like Dean Pease. Caleb says don't bring up Mr. Dean, Mr. Ben Don't Break Pease. I like Dean Pease. I like the Ben Don't Break. All right, I like it. I'm a fan. Some people don't like it though, and I totally respect that.
I mean, when it comes to defense, me personally, how can I put it? I like smash mouth defense, but it's too many best friends here, best friends there. No rivalry as strong as it used to be. Nobody, willing to take the head off. I get it. Safety is key. Dro, reason we want Harbaugh to leave is not because he's a bad coach. We want change to see even more tired of having talented players that are not playing because they're not your guy, also not making adjustments. Dro, you said it better than anybody else could, man. Honestly. And that's all we want. We want everybody to be utilized to the best of their ability. I'm tired of seeing guys, had one good moment, and they get pulled out to the sideline. How's that going to help that young man? Tyshawn Williams. I'm gonna keep bringing him up. How do you go from 6 yards per carry? Unfortunately, you moved up the depth chart due to injuries and stuff like that. I get it. We need a depth at running back, but you start making them a healthy scratch week after week after week. Just because you bring in some older guys that Lamar Jackson wasn't even really comfortable with, to be honest with you. So even Rashad Bateman, he'll give you good plays. Next thing you know, he's on the sideline. I was just about to get to that, Yolanda. Thank you. James Prochet. Showing that he's able to move the chains, catch the ball. Next thing you know, inactive for the next 2 games. Stuff don't add up. Don't make sense to me. Just don't.
Yeah, and I see people talking about Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not a big Cliff Kingsbury guy. I wouldn't want him in Baltimore. Cliff Kingsbury is an expert at recognizing talent. Um, obviously Patrick Mahomes. But then he goes to Arizona. They brought him to Arizona because they wanted to know what to do at quarterback. That's why they brought him in. They said, we have Josh Rosen. What do you think about him? And he was like, no, that's not it. Kyler Murray's the guy. And that's worked out pretty well. Kyler Murray is a very good quarterback. And I want to talk about Kyler Murray really quickly. I was not planning on talking about Kyler Murray. But I see so many Ravens fans just laughing and just like, oh, Kyler Murray's so bad and all these things. It's like, guys, that's exactly what everyone did to Lamar Jackson. And we all got mad at it. And like people are like, oh, the teams aren't, like, analysts aren't reacting the same way about Kyler Murray as they did Lamar Jackson. And I think that's not because they hate Lamar Jackson. I do think they do hate Lamar Jackson. But the reason behind this isn't because they hate Lamar Jackson. I think it's because they recognized, hey, when we blamed everything on this young, first-time playoff game quarterback that looked amazing in the regular season, it didn't work so good, right? All of a sudden, they're like, oh, man, this guy won MVP the next year. Like, we can't just be doing that. Like, we can't just be calling this guy, like, horrible and things like that like they did with Lamar. I think maybe they learned from that Lamar experience. Now, they still slander Lamar all the time, so I don't know why it's that. But I think Ravens fans are a little. I mean, I was kind of happy that Kyler Murray played kind of bad, just because I was like, all right, can we stop saying Kyler's better than Lamar? But because everyone said Kyler was better than Lamar because Lamar was bad in the playoffs, and it was like Kyler's never even made the playoffs. So like, what? Like, if you're gonna argue Kyler's better than Lamar, there's an argument to be made. I disagree completely with it, but like, you don't say playoff success or winning or anything like that. You could go off of passing or something like that, but not trying to have a Kyler. I don't think Kyler's better. I don't think Kyler's very close to Lamar. I just want to get that out there. But
Kyler is literally running this almost the same offense that he's running at OU. And on top of that, he has one of the best wide receiver cores and one of the best wide receivers in the league. So I'm not saying, he can't throw the ball, he can't escape, he can't make things happen, but he's not as dynamic as Lamar Jackson with his legs. Better thrower? I give you that. There's no problem give you that. He has to see down the field. He's like 5'11", 5'10". So
5'1".
Yeah, dude's a little dude. So, it's different. But I mean, still, two different type of caliber of player. I bet if we had a new offensive coordinator or a new head coach that know how to stretch the field, or our guys extend the plays, we can see some more of that. But we'll never know.
I like Bobby Petrino. The thing is whether or not he would actually come, and I don't think he would. I think a lot of college coaches just like to be in college because you have so much more control in college, right? Look at Urban Meyer as an example, right? You can do whatever you want to the players in college. Kind of sucks, but you can do whatever you want, right? So you get to the NFL and these guys are like, dude, I make $25 million a year. You're a 1-year head coach. Like, you're some new guy that we got brought in. I've been here for 8 years. Like, no. Like, shut up. I'm literally just not going to listen to you, and you can't do anything about it because I'm a good football player. Like, so, like, guys aren't able to have that sort of success because they're dealing with grown men. I mean, in some instances, they're dealing with guys older than them.
That was very true.
Like, Tom Brady is older than I believe all of the other coaches in the NFC right now, other than Bruce Arians on his own team. He's older than Kyle Shanahan. He's older than Matt LaFleur, and he's older than Sean McVay. Like, so it's difficult for college coaches to come over, is just kind of what I'm saying. And also, like, I doubt they'd give him a head coach job, and he'd definitely want a massive pay raise. And I think he just likes where he's at. But
yeah, I mean, don't know. Like, it's almost like, I get it. You bring you bring Greg Roman in. Yes, he's running guru, all that stuff like that. But did y'all not watch this young man in college? Did y'all not see what type of offense he ran? Did y'all not see that he was able to stretch the ball down the field? Like, why not implement some of the plays that he used in his career to get him where he is? That's the, I guess that's the more mind-boggling thing for me. Is like, I get it. You see, you have a thoroughbred in him. Cool. But at the same time, you still have to switch the game up. I mean, look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming. What all they knew about Josh Allen? He's a big boy with an even bigger arm. What they do in Buffalo? Got him Stephon Diggs after his rookie year. Start adding more pieces around him. What Josh Allen started doing? Bombing the rock. He was slinging that thing. Same stuff he was doing in Wyoming. Like, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is Michigan has a system. Is a systematic guy. As soon as he took over Drew Bledsoe, he was following a system that gave him nothing but success. So, I mean, you literally have to know what your quarterback likes. You have to give you something that your quarterback, can run with. But hey, man, we're the fans. We don't know nothing. I mean, I would
You know what? We know the Lake Show is speaking some truth.
Hey, you be on it.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's, and the whole thing about Lamar Jackson getting into a system is just like, yeah, I mean, everybody has a system. Like, everyone. Like, there are some guys that can play in any system. Like, I think, like a guy like, I don't know, Josh Allen or something like that. Like, his talents are so widespread that he could play in any system. But, like, in one particular system, like, obviously, like, in Josh Allen's best system versus Lamar's best system, I think Lamar's better. But I think Josh Allen fits into a lot more. And I think that's something to recognize. And Travis, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, we never won a championship with Rex Ryan as coordinator, and we won't win with Wink because of the stupid blitzing they do. The blitzing, the blitzing, that's one of the things that I don't love about the Ravens defense is how reliant they are on the blitz, because if the Ravens had a pass rush with 4-man pressure, I think the blitz would be so much more effective. But like, the Ravens really only blitz in like obvious passing situations, and everyone knows if the Ravens don't blitz, they're going to get no pressure. And so it's just like a terrible situation. And Wink Martindale refuses to like say that he wants a pass rusher. Like, come on, in a meeting with Eric DeCosta, be like, hey guys, I could use a pass rusher, man. Maybe get one guy that can get to the quarterback. I don't think he's saying that because he's like, I can scheme anybody sacks. It's like, dude, no, you can't. We can see it.
Listen, at number 14 in this year's draft, if that boy's Thibodeau from Oregon is available, sorry, I'm taking him.
I'm taking him at number 1 overall. I think he's the best player in the draft. So I would take him easily number 1 overall.
And the Dolphins on the opposite sides from each other?
I'd trade Lamar for Thibodeau. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't trade Lamar. I'd trade Marlon.
Did you see the mock draft? They got Malik Willis going to New Orleans.
I have not seen Todd McShay's mock draft. I saw he had the Ravens taking Tyler Lindenbaum though. So
I'm gonna be so stressed out. If this happens. This is not the first time. I already mentioned it before. Like, just go ahead and give Bradley Bozeman an extension. Like, I don't know what he's asking for, but yo, work a deal out.
Yeah.
Like, you can move any other piece. I said it before. On offensive line, you can move any other piece, but don't keep on moving the center.
Yeah. That's facts. Like, the way that they just continuously are just like, oh, yeah, new center. And, like, every time they get a new center, I feel like it gets worse. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, we've got Ryan Jensen. And they're like, oh, well, what about Matt Skura, though? We don't need Ryan Jensen. And it was like, okay, yeah. And then he got hurt. And then there's Makari. Makari wasn't great. Then it was Tristan Colon. And Tristan Colon's fine. Then it's Bozeman. And Bozeman was like, oh, wow, he's finally better. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we may get rid of him again. And it's like, no, guys, stop. Please stop.
Isn't Ryan Jensen now like a Pro Bowler for the Buccaneers?
Yup. Yep, he is.
He's still one of the most nastiest centers. I remember when Kiko Alonso went for Joe Flacco's head, and he jumped right in.
This is Wink's problem. Stop doing this, Wink.
Lake Show. I don't know how many times we done talked about that. There's no way in heck Adafi, Justin, guys like that should be in coverage. They need to be up the field. But we didn't see it so many times where these two guys are in coverage. So, I don't get it.
Nothing like Harbaugh. I'm surprised he hasn't hired Jim yet.
No. Jim need to call John to come to Michigan.
Oh, please.
I feel sorry for my boy Blake. But Blake was playing so terrible. I don't know. And I think he's going to get more of the touches next year, too. At running back, Blake Corum.
This is a good analysis. I like this from Adit. Bozeman is entering free agency at the same time as Ryan Jensen, Jason Kelsey, and others. Since this isn't like last year where Corey Linsley was basically the only good center available, I think we get a deal done with Bradley Bozeman. I really like that. I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like we see what Micah Parsons was able to do, right? Micah Parsons played on the same defense with the Owe, and they're just as athletic as each other, and honestly, probably just as technical. But Micah Parsons was just given significantly more opportunities for him to rush the passer. And I'm not saying Owe is better than Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is better. I thought Micah Parsons was the best player in the draft last year defensively. I thought Jamar Chase was the best player. I thought that Micah Parsons was the second best player. Those are my two best. Those are my rankings. But like you just can't not use your guys when you draft them. And the Ravens consistently have not used them. It's ridiculous how long it takes for them to really get going, even though they show so much promise. Like, how quickly, Joshua, did you recognize that Mark Andrews was better than Hayden Hurst?
Oh, immediately. No, I ain't going to lie to you.
And how many weeks did it take for him to finally be the tight end one?
Soon as Hayden went down.
And it wasn't like Hayden was there forever. It was like Hayden was drafted in the same draft. And it's not like Mark Andrews was some 6th round pick. It was like, no, he was a 3rd round pick. I believe he was the 3rd player the Ravens took in that draft. I may be wrong on that. But I know he was taken in the 3rd round of that draft.
Is Hayden a free agent this year?
No, maybe. I think there's a team option for Atlanta.
I think he might want to get out of there. Kyle Piston took the shine.
Yeah, he's got to find. What's gonna happen though? He's also really old. Is another thing about him.
Yeah, he came into the league like at 26, right?
Yep.
Z on fire. Z talking. I like that.
Yeah.
Talking about the philosophy need to change. That's man. We didn't say so many things need to happen. The thing is, all we want to see change. Like we can keep on talking about it. It really just comes down to the organization as a whole of what they want to make happen. We would love to see changes. We would love to see new coaches. Matter of fact, let me rephrase that. We would love to see new coaches that we know is going to make a instant impact. We don't want to see if these guys get fired today or tomorrow. We don't want them to bring in coaches that are still mediocre. We want coaches that can make an impact, change the philosophy, change the culture. Well, yeah, change the culture most definitely, because we gotta rally these guys more different. Like I respect them. Like, oh, everybody on that type of energy and wave of we'll be back next year. We're gonna come different. We're not gonna be. It's not up for discussion. It's not talking. But at the same time, you can do all that. You can say all that for the presser. But when it's time to strap up in game time, y'all still on kitty time. We ain't got time for that. Y'all say y'all want to win, right? Knock up. Like Chuck, it should never took you over 16 games to start being a playmaker. Granted, those both those interceptions were momentum builders. But at the same time, like, bro, you have so many opportunities in the season to change the tide, and you didn't. At this point, you had me thinking that you're a middle linebacker we can play for coverage. If I'm gonna put it out there right now, if Elam is related to Matt Elam, I don't want him. I'm gonna be real.
Now I gotta look it up.
Because think about it. I think Kyle Elam went to the University of Florida too, right?
Yeah.
Matt Elam went to the University of Florida. There's gotta be a resemblance.
Oh, nephew of Matt Elam.
Yeah, I'm good.
And I really like Kyer. I like him as a prospect.
They say Kobe Bryant, his stock is moving up.
I'm not surprised. I mean, the way that he played against Alabama, I mean, him and Sauce both played amazing games. And that's going to do wonders for your draft stock is when you play a great game against one of the best offenses in college football. Yeah. Because everyone was worried about the competition. Oh, you didn't play guys that were that good.
Okay.
No.
I see people talking about when offensive lineman. I guess I'll go ahead and address that. So I know everybody went to offensive lineman. There's been somebody on Twitter. Every time I see them talk about a left tackle, I want to reply back so bad, but I had to say, you know what? You can't have a debate with everybody because this guy is pretty much sold on Ronnie Stanley not coming back. I'm like, yo, he got rushed into playing last year, and he re-injured the situation. You literally can get a right tackle this year in the 3rd or 4th round. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna use your 14th pick and get a tackle that's that could be a media starter, I would say go at the Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning can move over to the right tackle and give you good minutes. He'll be solid. I don't know, and I mean then you have him for 3 to 4 years. But if we go for Sauce Gardner, if we go for Thibodeau at the 14th, Daniel Falehi will be available within that 2nd or 3rd round. And don't forget, we had 2 3rd-round picks. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because Matt Judon didn't make it to the All-Pro, he's still 4th round. But we still got 2 3rd rounds. And those first couple picks, that 1st or 3rd round, I think those are very crucial. Eric DeCosta has to hit it on the dot this year.
He does. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out. I mean, there's so many guys that I'm excited to scout. I mean, there's like a million of them. Lake Show. Yeah, we do need a corner. We do need a corner.
And let go of Amar Marshall. We need to let go of guys that still hurt, that hasn't played a lick of football. I'm gonna be real. And honestly, y'all, if we don't go for a right tackle in this year's draft, next year our guy out of University of Kentucky will be available. We just had to be putting Patrick McCarry at right tackle for the rest of the season. Only the downside about that is his reach. He has short arms. We saw what happened with Von Miller, T.J. Watt. Not going to say they had a field day with him, but they did take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But if John Mechie is available in the 4th round, I'm sorry, man.
You like Mechie?
Man, I'm listening. I'm going to have to take him. But only way I take him if we got new coaches and stuff like that, and we really plan on passing the ball. Like Mechie, Rashad Bateman, and Hollywood on the field together. I like the sound of that.
Tyrann. I would like Tyrann Mathieu. I would prefer the Ravens go out and get Tyrann Mathieu and let go of Marcus Peters, Anthony Averett, and Deshaun Elliott. I would like that.
You want to take a hit for Marcus Peters, though?
I would drop Marcus Peters. Yeah, I would take the $5 million away, and I would draft first-round cornerback. Like that's what I would do if the Ravens wanted Tyrann Mathieu.
I mean, we go after Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, we do got Brandon Stevens. We can make him serviceable at the corner too. Dang, that would be interesting. How about this? How much do you think Geno Stone play will help him get more playing time next year?
I think it will help. I think the Ravens will definitely use him next year. Definitely in certain spots. Because I think there will be a lot of situations where they put Brandon Stevens at corner and they bring in, because I don't think they'll bring back Deshaun Elliott. So then they'll put in Geno at free safety sometimes. Or if they put Chuck in the box.
Yeah. Deshaun, I mean, unfortunately, some things you can't control. With Deshaun Elliott getting hurt, yeah, I don't think they're gonna bring him back. If they do, I'll be happy, but at the same time, because of his health, I'm not about to risk it. I love the dude. I love what he can bring to the table though. He's definitely a thumper. He showed he can change the momentum, he can make plays, but at the same time, it's just the consistency of his health. We don't need another Tavon Young. Play one game, out for 2 years. We don't need that right
now. This is a really good question right here. Take one of these guys, same amount of money: Chandler Jones, J.C. Jackson, or Tyrann Mathieu.
Yikes!
You like J.C. Jackson? I think I'm gonna go with the Honey Badger because I think he adds something that the Ravens defense doesn't have. Someone that's nasty, right? Someone that's going to make those types of old school football plays. Even though I love Chandler Jones, I'm a huge Chandler Jones fan. I think he's the best player on here. But I think the Ravens need someone nasty to give their defense like a bad boys mentality, right? I want the Ravens to become this generation's bad boy Pistons. All right, like I want them to go out there and be more physical than everyone else, especially on defense.
It definitely would bring those vibes of early 2000s. I remember the years when we had Marcus Douglas, Kelly Gray, Peter Bolwell, Delius Thomas, Ray Lewis, Chris McAllister, Gary Baxter. Hell, I'm even remember when Prime Time played with us for a hot minute, man. Will Dempsey, Ed Reed, like, yeah. Man, we definitely need some hitters Some dudes that ain't scared. Shucks, even with Darius Webb didn't mind getting down and dirty. So I definitely see what you're saying with the Tyrann Mathieu. So I wouldn't be mad at that neither.
Let's see.
Do you think Eric Fisher or Mike Schwartz will come back to the league and play for the Ravens?
Well, I think Eric Fisher's on a deal with the Colts.
Okay.
But Schwartz, I doubt he comes to the Ravens. I mean, it's just been so long since he played. And I don't know if the Ravens would want him. I think the Ravens want to get someone younger because they don't want to have to pay a ton of money. Because they're going to have to pay a lot of money to a lot of guys. So I think the Ravens draft a line instead of trying to sign a lot.
That's true. I mean, everybody trying to bang with Jawan James. Like, he's just a death. He's there for death. He's not there to start, in my opinion. Nobody watched Jawan James highlights since he's been in the NFL. I need to go ahead and check them out. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. Ooh, Jonathan.
We may not be able to replicate the defense, but in relation to what the rest of the league has, I think it could be on the same level, right? Defenses in the NFL right now are not that good. They're not at the level of the offenses. So if the Ravens had a great defense, that would stand out more than everybody else's defense. And it wouldn't be the 2000s Ravens. I don't think we were hoping for it to be the 2001 Ravens, the best defense in NFL history. But having a defense that's physical and teams are scared because quarterbacks, when they were like, oh, who's next? And they go, oh, the Ravens. They're like, oh, man, I do not want to be doing that. I want teams to say, oh, no. I want Joe Burrow. I want Baker Mayfield. I want whoever the Steelers get at quarterback after Big Ben retires. I want them to be like, we got to play this defense twice a year. And that forces some of them to move out. They're like, I don't want to play in this division anymore. Like, I'm getting beat down because not only is the Ravens defense going to be good, the Steelers have some great pieces. They got TJ Watt, Minka. They got Devin Bush. Like we got to build that back up. And both teams, the Ravens and the Steelers, they kind of lost it after they lost their key pieces. The Ravens losing Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. The Steelers losing Woodley and James Harrison and Troy Polamalu. But they're coming back, right? We're seeing those star defensive players returning and building up those defenses once again with TJ and Marlon Humphrey, kind of leading the way for their teams.
I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna criticize it. The most complete defense for the team that did not make it to the playoffs, I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, look at the secondary to the front seven. They're pretty solid. They're pretty solid. Like between Myles Garrett, you got two top corners and Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward. Granted, Greedy was having some off days. Even, them guys still played. They played hard. They wasn't scared. And then you had a Jadeveon Clowney on the opposite side of Myles Garrett as well. Like, in my opinion, that's the most complete defense in the AFC North, even though they did not make it to the playoffs.
You're probably right with that, which is kind of sad, but I think that's right. All right, guys, we've been streaming for just about an hour. Let us know if you have any other kind of final questions. We'll probably do maybe a little bit longer, but shout out to all you guys coming through to the Wednesday night stream and stuff like that. We like to go live every Wednesday. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's at 8. It changes sometimes, but we tweet it out and stuff like that when we do go live. So thank everybody for coming into that. But let's see here. the Harbaughs don't want the smoke. All right,
They really don't at this point.
they don't. Come on, like you guys think they stand a chance? No chance.
We don't play fair neither, Blank.
And honestly, Harbaugh would probably come out there and, look, I'm already ready to take them down. All right. I'm ready. I've been waiting for this. Okay. Like they're going to come out there and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, we just, found some 8-year-old fans that are Michigan fans. They're going to fight for us because, Michigan. And then, of course, any Michigan player that Harbaugh picks is going to be terrible. So, honestly, they could throw out Aiden Hutchinson out there, and I wouldn't be afraid because Harbaugh picked them.
At one point I did want Hutchinson to come to the Ravens, but I'm like, he went to Michigan. No.
I know, right?
Oh, my God. Dang. That made me. So I got to scratch him off my list. The next guy up is the guy from Purdue.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm looking forward to April. I ain't going front.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Where's the draft at this year anyway?
Oh, the draft? Is it in Vegas? Because Vegas got delayed because of COVID.
That's different. They didn't switch the whole game up.
All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming into the stream. Thanks, y'all, for asking great questions. As always, giving us a lot of stuff to talk about. Sorry if we didn't get to your question. If you have a question, comment it on the video that gets posted after the stream, and then we can definitely look at it and make a response and things like that for it. But thank you, everybody, for coming in, and we'll see all of you again next time.